Oh yeah, it was in pretty bad shape a few years ago.
This here is Brian Ahern's colossal Enactron truck. We took this lead-lined puppy to Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and did a George Jones record. Isn't that a beauty?
What one a good year for the roses.
It's not the original. It'd be good.
I've never seen it before. I gotta check it out.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
What a...
I mean, this is really a piece of history. And, you know, we did tracks, whole tracks in that comfort zone. The singing and playing, obviously not this full band, but things like Sage Goes Round and Sorrow and Lament. And Brian played excellent bass, just a lot of great memories.
Oh, yeah.
I did a lot of vocals in there.
Oh.
And he designed that, you know. He was the architect of that. What a treasure. Yeah.
Thanks for having us
Thank you.
and doing it at all.
Yeah, this is a great celebration.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, when I walked in, I had a flashback to being in that area, even though it's a little comfort zone. I remember that, what's that Christmas song? The first time I went there, so I would stay with that.
Codachrome, and we was just picking them for us.
Picking and grinning.
Let's do that.
That story of all.
And
Great.
that's a great big start to that, and
Yeah, I knew you.
went.
So you're over there on stage, the
Three of us, right?
Well, that's what's her name. Diana Kurt. Strawberry wine. I shaved my legs for this.
Something to see everywhere. Hey.
What they say didn't hurt much until you blame and shine. I'd like to have the perfect twin. So climb the stairs and lock your dreams away.
What's that? No, it's pretty much. Everybody's moving around. They're getting ready for the main show.
Okay.
This is pretty nice.
That's pretty stunning.
said, you gotta meet Brian, you gotta meet BA. And on a Tuesday in November, and I keep a really accurate calendar, it was actually the 14th of November, 1972. I met Brian for the first time at a restaurant in Yorkville that at the time was one of the hip restaurants in Toronto. And we had lunch. We went back to his house, this amazing building, a 3-story structure in Rosedale, which is the Belle Mead of, hold on, my phone just went off. I'm not.
Happy birthday to you. Woo!
That was great, Bob. Most of you here know Brian and work with him, and so you know how special he is and what a genius he is at what he does. I didn't really have any plan here, but I thought since Fasu is here, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I mean, if you have an artist that's pretty good and you have great musicians, and we were able to work with a great musician like James Burton, who's here tonight. Thank you so much, James and Louise, for coming. I mean, we had, when I made those first records, you know, I had, you know, the creme de la creme of a band. And of course, that was great, but Brian also understood that it's important to get maybe those outside voices that maybe people don't know about. He appreciated, I've been working with Sue, and her then, at the time, husband, John Starling. John Starling was in a wonderful bluegrass band called Seldom Seen, and they were part of my music family there in DC. And Brian understood that there was something special about their voices and combining with mine. And so he was open to bringing people who maybe you know, met people nationwide and not heard. He appreciated that. And so he was able to bring something special into those records. I'm setting Fasu up too strongly here, Fasu. Because we thought, you know, since I got Fasu here, maybe we'd do a couple of things that that we had done with Brian on those records. Fasu, come on up.
Woo!
When I first decided to do this with Fasu tonight, well, let me tell the story about the song. I was getting ready to make the first record, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a country singer. My heart was in country music because of my experience with Graham Parsons. But I was really finding myself, and so the early Hollywood star, who was famous, the woman who swam, who was a movie star. Esther Williams. It had like an Esther Williams swimming pool with swans and this lava rock everywhere, and Harlequin chairs and tacky, basically. That's what it was. It really early 50s. And of course, I was still fresh off of being kind of a hippie, Joe Biden's wannabe. And but I knew one thing: I loved Dolly Parton, and so I took one of my favorite Dolly Parton records and put it on the mantelpiece right above where I was sitting in that part of the house as to keep me in line and inspire me. And one of the songs that I really wanted to do was Coat of Many Colors. It was one of my favorite songs. And I didn't think anybody would ever hear my version of it, so I was okay doing it. And Brian did have a little reticence. He thought, well, you know, it's a, oh boy, look who's here.
Yeah, Billy Skaggs. Woo!
So I have to lower it a little bit. And so anyway, and he was a little reticent about it. And he wanted me to do a song of Billy Joel's called Too Far Gone that I wasn't that crazy about it. So thus started our wonderful working relationship. We did both of them. And they both turned out pretty good. So anyway, with apologies to Dolly Parton, I'm going to do this wonderful song that I love so much. And kudos to Brian for letting me do it on the first record.
Actually, yeah, James Brown.
Back through the years, ever wondering what's it? Back to the seasons of my youth. Heard old books of rags someone gave up. How my mama put those rags to use. There were rags many. They were all the rags I wore so proudly. Oh, we had no money, rich as I could be, in my coat of many colors. My mama made for me. Turn around. So the Duchess of London, old shoes, in a coat of many colors. I heard up to school, just to find children alive, making fun of me in my coat of many colors. My mama made for me. I didn't understand it, for I felt that I was rich. Told them I was so very stitched. All about the story Mama told me while she sewed in my coat of many colors, worth more than all that gold. They didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see. One's only gold, only if they choose to be. Oh, we had no money, I was rich as I could be, in my coat of many colors. My mama made for me. In my coat of many colors, my mama made just for me.
Woo! Yeah! Woohoo! Woo!
Sue's all over that. She does a beautiful harmonies. Nobody has a voice like hers. It just, you know, because the human voice is so distinctive and unusual, and I love it when voices blend and make that third voice or that fourth voices. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Dolly. Thank you for all your songs, and thank you for being here tonight, too. It means so much. He's a pretty special guy.
Yeah!
This is a song that I stole off of Hazel and Alice record. Well, actually, it was a Bruce Phillips song, so that was me. But, you know, as artists, we don't mind stealing from each other. So, we're all part of the same big stew, I guess. We're trying to do the best we can, make music that touches people. We didn't really rehearse this. We haven't done this in how many years? I know. Oh, they bring in Rolling Hills, West Virginia. Hearts and tears stained there, and I know. But the time is sad and drear, night and I am here. Never leave me story. I hope it's clean.
While we were in the Enactron truck, I was kind of new at all this headphone business, and I told Brian, I just can't hear I just don't know what I'm hearing. I can't tell if it's sharp or flat. And so he arrived at some kind of configuration where there was a hole in the wall, and speakers and microphones and things were all around, and in his acoustic wizardry, he figured out how to put my nose in a hole in the wall and stand there and sing without any headphones. I don't think anybody had ever heard of such a thing. And I just stood there listening. Anyway, and I got kind of aggravated with Brian because he's kind of like, I think of him as the little prince with all the tendrily halo of hair, that blonde, pinky little tendril. Anyway, I said, Brian, please tell me if I'm sharp or flat. I can't tell. Just how do you feel about this? I don't want to know how I feel about it. I want you to tell me what you think. So he found this little clown doll, this little kind of thing he would squeeze, a little puppet looking thing.
Oh, I remember that.
And the ears would go and pop out. So when he heard a bad day, he'd go and he'd do that. And the other story was Emmy was getting ready to record Bob Dylan. And somehow I found myself with Emmy and Brian going to New York to CBS to record with Bob Dylan. So Emmy, as you know, Southern man, she's got plenty of them, introduced me to Bob Dylan. We went in and looked around. And so Brian politely took his leave with me. We went outside because we didn't want to bother the ambiance of the studio and all that stuff. So Brian said, I have to tell you, I don't do conversation. I only respond in visceral grunts. And I said, okay. And he said, and by the way, I need a haircut. I said, what? He said, I need my haircut. I said, what am I supposed to do about that? He asked the secretary for a pair of scissors. And we sat in the stairwell of CBS in New York and cut his hair. And I said, Brian, where's your brush? He said, brush? I can't use a brush. I'll pass out. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Get this hair out of here. So I just pulled a tendril out and clipped it off, and then it back there. And so, we got the whole thing done. And meanwhile, Eric Clapton goes up the steps. I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't know Eric Clapton from the whole point. And he said, hello, Eric. He said, hello, Brian. And Brian said, would you like a haircut? He said, not today, or something like that. Anyway, that's all.
Now, Alden, we have an old friend of mine, Brian, from California. He flew all the way out here. You might want to say, and anyone who wants to come up and give Brian's story, it's not the opposite of a roast. Yes, I think you may.
He's been over there a couple of days, so it was close, so I'm going to run home and change clothes and go back over there. But I wanted to say happy birthday to Brian. I want to see you, of course. These people mean so much to me, and so many of you go back to those days when we were all in that truck and up in that house that you're talking about. I love that, and I met so many people like Bob and Brian. Brian was just such a quiet person, but you could just tell he was, that's what they say about people that are geniuses. They don't need to say much. Their work speaks for itself. And I just remember feeling so proud to be in that little truck where we used to sing, and I did that, a lot of the stable with you and that's when I walked in there a while ago. I thought, how amazing to put that truck in the Country Music Hall of Fame all the way from LA. That was a wonderful thing to do, but when I walked in there, so many memories came back because Brian was the one that actually did our first trio album. I remember Linda and Emmylou and I sitting in that same house that you talked about, and how precious that was, and then how we'd get in that truck and do demos and work things out with Brian. But he really had such a great take on the music, had such a good ear, such a good heart. sweetheart, and we just all loved him. He didn't need to talk because Bob talked all the time. So, and if Bob wasn't talking, I was. Linda and Emily were like the quiet one than Brian. But anyhow, I just wanted to say happy birthday. Brian and I are about the same age. He just turned 75. I turned 74 last week. Well, 19. So we're really okay for our age, I think. But anyhow, it's so good to see so many people. It's like kind of coming to a family reunion. Seeing so many people I haven't seen in so long. Thank you for singing Code. I started saying, you better sing my song without me. But you know what? You did a song I wrote. One of the things I was so proud of. One of the biggest fights that Porter Wagner and I ever had was over you. Did you know that? Because I was recording, I had written a song called Today, and I had recorded it for myself. And Porter and I used to, fight every once in a while, but we made some great music together. And so I was proud, of my songs. And Emmylou was in town, and Porter said, well, let's get that girl over here and let her listen to the sessions we're doing, because she likes you, and she'll probably enjoy listening to this record. So that song was about to come out, and I don't know if you know this or not. And so Porter was playing this, just being proud, and Emmy heard the song Today, and she said, oh, Dolly, you gotta let me have that song. And Porter said, no, you can't have that song. That's gonna be Dolly's next single. And this is when I knew how serious I was about being a songwriter. And I said, yeah, you can have it. He said, no, she can't have that. And I said, yes, she can have it. So she did. And so I was so proud of it, #1. And I did record it later in an album. But after we left, Porter said, how could you just give that song? That's one of the best things you wrote. I said, well, that's right. But it became, that's what I said to him. I got a lot more songs. When am I going to actually get to express myself as a songwriter? So you was really hot at the time. And I think your record of that was beautiful. You want to sing that? What's that? I'll sing. I don't know if I remember all of it. But anyhow, this just turned out to be about us more than Brian. We're just going today. Mama never seemed to miss my things in life. If she did, she never did say so to Dad.
Dolly. I know that Alden wanted to say a few words. Anybody else wants to follow Dolly?
Well, I've got to run, so y'all can
Talk all night, Dolly.
Anyway, thank you, love you. Yeah, I will. I'll tell Carl you said hi, and Brian, happy birthday.
I know Alden wanted to speak.